All right, everybody, last video for you seniors, the last video of the year. That's exciting. Yay. It'd be way more exciting if we were together. All right, that's just me saying. All right, our last COVID special, Roman numeral 13, muscles that move the legs. We're going to talk about tib, fib, and in this video, we're also going to continue and finish with muscles that move the foot. But let's move the leg right now, the tib, fib, and don't forget, for the most part, we're going to be doing that big bone right there. That was actually just that outside leg shaper. Okay, first muscle is the quadriceps femoris groups. The regular people, if you lift weights, you would call these your quads. It's actually 4 separate muscles, but it has a single tendon, which is interesting. Okay, so let's check this out. All right, here's quadriceps femoris right here. There's 1, 2, 3, and then there's one underneath that you can't see. So you got 1, 2, 3, and one underneath for a total of 4. All right, let's take a look at them. Rectus femoris. Rectus means straight up and down. That's this one right here, rectus femoris, right there. Vastus medialis, that's this one right here. Vastus lateralis, that's this one right here. Now, if you fully extend your lower leg and really contract these quads, you'll be able to see the beginnings or the heads of these muscles right by the tendon. You'll see a lump here, one a little higher, and then one down the middle, okay? You probably have seen that before. And the last one is vastus intermedialis, which is between these two, but underneath rectus femoris. So you cannot see it without a cutaway. And to be honest, I don't have that photo. So there are 4 muscles, and they're all tapering to a single tendon right here. Boop. They all taper to a single tendon. And you know that tendon then includes the kneecap, which is the patella, which is a sesamoid bone, any bone that forms within a tendon. So you got 1, 2, 3, one underneath, all 4 coming to a single point. And the name of that tendon, oh, I'm sorry. This is why I hate you got to memorize PowerPoints. I hate PowerPoint. And then they wrap around the patella. I already said that. And then they insert on the tibial tuberosity. Now that's right here. So this is called the patellar tendon. But once you go past the kneecap, then it's bone to bone, so that's called the patellar ligament. And you can actually kind of grab that right underneath your kneecap. You can kind of feel that right there, okay? Boop. And it's called the patellar ligament here. Patellar tendon there, you might want to add that to your notes. Patellar tendon up here, patellar ligament here, then attached to the tibial tuberosity, and then by extension can then function and manipulate the tibia. So what's it do? It is the primary extensor of the lower leg. So if you keep your thighs still, it's going to make your foot and your lower leg come out in front of you until your leg is straight. This is the muscles that keep your leg straight, okay? Next muscle is the hamstrings group. So that was the front of your quad. Let's go to the back of your quad. And if any of you have ever done damage to a hammy, you guys know how painful that can be, okay? Now in the hamstrings group, there are 3 muscles, okay? There are 3 muscles. There's a big one on the side, 2 smaller ones in the middle. There's a big one on the side, 2 smaller ones in the middle. Big one, 2 smallers. Okay, those muscles are biceps femoris. That's the most lateral one. Okay. Then we have semitendinosus. That's the next biggest one right next to it, moving medially. And then the smallest one is called Oh, I have those backwards. Oh, no, I don't. I had it right. Sorry, I'm not going to redo the video. This is biceps femoris, semitendinosus, semimembranosus is the skinniest of the 3. I apologize. Make sure you make that distinction, but you can rewind this video 1,000 times and watch me mess it up. Okay, what do? These are the primary flexors. Now remember, flexion is decreasing the angle of the joint. So this is pulling the lower leg back, kind of like as you were loading your leg to kick somebody right in the rear end, right in the wazoo. Okay, these are the primary flexors. Let's go to the adductors, okay? Adductors. Now, what does adductor mean? What does adduction? Adduction means to draw any body part towards the median line. So this is going to draw the leg in towards the median line. And the primary adductor, now these are actually manipulating the femur, but this one is going all the way down to the medial surface of the tibia, and it's called the gracilis, okay? Gracilis. Now, there are others up here. These are called groin muscles, very small muscles that help control, like when you're walking, help control the femur so it doesn't fly. Imagine if you were running full speed and one of your legs just flew out sideways. I mean, you'd literally do a face plant, and next thing you know, you're on ridiculousness. But These muscles all control or maintain the femur so you can walk upright in a stable fashion, okay? Other muscles are the groin muscles. Again, that's these ones up here, and I will admit these are not movers of the lower leg, but they do stabilize the femur so that you can be efficient with your lower leg, okay? And they include adductor magnus, not on this picture. They're all right up in this area in the groin. Adductor longus, again, not in this picture. You would have got to see some of these on your cat, though, had we done the cat dissection, which we'd be wrapping up by now, because Saturday I'd have been going to Canada, but unfortunately that trip got canceled too. Peroneus is the smallest of the groin muscles right there. That's one that tears pretty easily. Okay. All work to adduct the leg or stabilize it. Again, this is the left leg, so it's going to keep it in towards the midline so it doesn't flare out, so that you can walk and so you can walk and track. That was hard to do in the camera. D, Sartorius, and this is an interesting muscle. Check this out. Normally I would say muscles do not turn or change direction, but this one actually does. It actually starts high on the hip, right here. Here's Sartorius. High on the outside of the hip, and then it curves through the front of the femur, and then it attaches on the medial condyle of the tibia right here. Pretty neat, okay? It runs lateral on the hip. Oop, I already said that. To medial on the tibia, okay? And what does this thing do? You get medial rotation of the thigh, okay? Medial rotation of the thigh. Flexion of the leg. It helps pull the leg up like that. And it does that at the same time. So you get medial rotation and flexion. Now, in class, I can show you this. If you've ever seen anybody doing hacky sack, okay, where they kind of roll the leg and then they pull the heel up, that's what this muscle can do, okay? The best example, and I think it's coming up here in a second, this is sometimes called the tailor's muscle. Does anybody know what a tailor is? Because you modern children probably don't know what that is. A tailor is somebody that makes custom clothing. And when you go in to get measured, especially if you're a man for a suit, they make you stand on this little box. And then what does the tailor, the man or the woman, do? They sit on the floor to do the measurements of your inseam or your pant leg length. And how do they sit when they're on the floor? Oh, that's right. They sit cross-legged. This allows you to sit cross-legged. It flexes the leg and then rotates up into position towards the median line. That's Sartorius. Really cool muscle. I don't know how often we use it, but I guess if you're playing hacky sack or you want to sit cross-legged, it's a good one to have. I don't know. All right, now this is the very last section, Roman numeral 14, muscles that move the foot. So these muscles are going to be on the lower leg. Oops, sorry about shaking the camera there. First muscle is Tibialis Anterior. So this is a directional term. In the front, that's a reference point to where it's located. So it's on the front of the tibia. It's this muscle. If you pull your toes up real hard, just below your knee, you'll feel this very large muscle right on the front of your leg contract. That is Tibialis Anterior. And what does this muscle do? It's the first muscle just lateral to the tibia on the anterior surface of the leg. Well, that comes from the name, and I already said that. Blah, blah, blah. Action. Here we go. Dorsiflexion. Now, this is a very special motion only found relative to the foot. Dorsiflexion means to pull the toes up towards the knee. So that's toes towards you. Bring your toes all the way towards the knee. That's dorsiflexion, which is important when you're walking. Inversion. Now, I can't show you this, but inversion is the ability to just take your foot, just your foot, and just slightly point it to the inside. And if you've never noticed, because you don't look down, if you're changing directions at any amount of human speed, you never set your foot out flat. You always toe it in a little bit to provide leverage and directional change. So you have to be able to move the foot independently, at least slightly, from the rest of the leg. Now, if you really wanted to turn this foot in, then the thigh will start to rotate medially. So you have all of that option available as well, okay? These two muscles, I'm listing them together. Gastrocnemius, this is the largest of your calf muscles, and soleus is a muscle that's deep or right underneath it. Let's take a look at those. Okay, so here's the large muscle. Here's your calf muscle, the gastrocnemius. And then there's another muscle under the tendon called the soleus, and they both share this tendon right here, which you all know is called the Achilles tendon right there. So we got two muscles working together. Here we go. Both taper to a single tendon. The name of that tendon is the Achilles tendon. It is the strongest tendon in the human body. In fact, if you've ever seen anybody pop this tendon, And I think it's some of the classes I showed you that video where that girl was exercising and she ruptured her Achilles tendon. Well, that tendon is so tight and so strong and so thick that when you shatter it or you shear it, it'll actually roll up and sometimes can be up underneath the muscle up here. And then it has to be pulled down and then redone. I'll be honest with you, I've never seen, I know a couple of people have had the surgery. It's never the same afterwards. Never. It's always a little too tight. Now, it inserts on the calcaneus. You guys remember from our bone review, that's the largest bone of the ankle, your heel. And action, what does it do? Plantar flexion. Remember, dorsiflexion is toes up, plantar flexion is toes down. So if you push yourself up on your tippy toes, that's this muscle. And this muscle can get very large, especially if you're a sprinter, if you do a lot of walking, a lot of exercise, because this is part of the power stroke when you move forward. Okay, the last two muscles of the experience, here we go, are Peroneus longus and Peroneus brevis. Again, listing them together because they have the same action. Now, I have real cadaver photos for this one. Okay, so if you look really closely, you might have to blow this up when you're watching this. If you see this muscle right there with the big white tendon, if you track that tendon, it goes underneath the lateral malleolus and then comes out to the side of your foot right there. Longus means longer. So let's take a look at the next picture. Same cadaver, but brevis is right next to it, and you can see its tendon goes right down on top of it, right there, and stops right on the backside of the ankle. Pretty cool. All right, now what does this muscle, what do these muscles do? Both are found just lateral to tibialis anterior, so there's tibialis anterior on the front of your leg, right there in the picture. Action. Plantar flexion. Remember, that's toes down, going up on your tippy toes. And these muscles also do eversion, which is slightly, just slightly turning the foot to the outside. Inversion is turning the foot in. Eversion is turning the foot out. And I will admit, you do not have a lot of range of motion there, unless, of course, you start to rotate the femur. And then you can really position your foot where you want to. And that, my friends, is the end of our muscular review of the human body. Hope you enjoyed it. Review activity coming tomorrow. Test coming Thursday. I'll have some instructions. I might even put up another video on how to get a good grade on this exam. No one should be getting less than a 90%. Just got to take your time, use your resources. All right, everybody. I'll see you later in the week on YouTube. As always, take care, and I miss you.